to another episode of Nana and Ollie Go Wild.
Hello.
So we are doing this in the woods, as you can see, on a Sunday afternoon. Today's video is going to be about insights into long distance walking for us specifically. So what we found physically, emotionally, how that reflected on our well-being, and what we generally found, how we felt, those kind of things.
Definitely. I think these are all topics that we've thought about quite a bit since we've been back, and we've spoken a little bit about as well. So we just kind of wanted to get our thoughts down about it, really, because obviously this is what we do on this channel. It's a little bit of outdoorsiness and a bit about nature, and it's also about mental health and well-being. So there's this expectation when we're doing the West Highland Way that actually it's going to be really hard work if you're walking 100 miles and you're carrying really, really heavy backpacks. What kind of a toll does that take on your body? Can you physically do it? Do you have enough stamina? Lots of people we've spoken to since are kind of amazed that this kind of thing's possible. Obviously, people do much more extreme things as well. But it's interesting to know kind of how we adapted. How we adapted to our loads that we were carrying and the distances we were travelling.
We hit the trail feeling generally kind of okay, fitness-wise, but...
Yeah, definitely not in like the peak condition I've been in.
Or me.
Yeah, but so the first few days were quite hard going actually. Just in terms of getting used to our backpack weight, which we've said before was like way overweight for various reasons. You can check out our last video where we talk a bit about that. After a few days, we noticed that load itself seemed a bit lighter, certainly at the beginning of the day. As our bodies got stronger to cope with what we were doing. So in this case, our bodies were getting used to bearing weight with our legs, walking a lot, and we were noticing that our shoulder muscles were getting quite a bit bigger and stronger just from carrying these backpacks. So after a few days, at the beginning of the day, it was almost easier to carry that load than it was at the very beginning.
Yeah, I found the same as well, as we talked about that as we went along. There were times where we decided to give our bodies a break, and I think those days were really important because most people would do them in 7 days. The hike we did it, was it 8? We did it at the end of the morning. It was 8, I think.
It was 8, yes.
And it came days where we needed that relaxation. And something that we both found was that as time progressed, we found that we were much more in touch with our bodies, so we knew what they needed, and we knew when we should rest and when we could push a bit more, how fast we could walk. There were times where we were walking incredibly fast to pick up the pace when we had to be somewhere by a certain time. There were other times where that just wasn't possible, no matter the willpower and the glucose tablets consumed.
We're really, really noticing with that the peaks and troughs that we were having, before or after eating. Do just get in tune with these kind of patterns of, this is where my body's at, this is where I'm at the moment in terms of like energy levels, and I need to stop now, have a drink, have some food, I need to get going again, get in that rhythm, and getting in the rhythm of walking as well.
And something else that was really nice to enable that was the lack of phone usage and social media, which I actually found really, really rewarding and not difficult at all. And actually I've really, so coming back, I had like a flurry of emails, both personal and work ones, and trying to organise different things and events that I was doing. And it all felt like quite a lot. I was being bombarded with lots of information from all directions. and that, which is, I guess, normal routine for me, but being able to compare it to actually being outside for a week and maybe just keeping in touch by text message once in a while, or maybe if we had internet, we might post like once every few days just to inform people what we're doing on Instagram and stuff like that. But it was really interesting to notice, which obviously I knew on a cognitive level, however I hadn't really felt it in my body like that before.
Yeah, there was a lot more space in our minds to process things. There weren't the usual kind of levels of worry about things that you've got to do. All we had to think about was walking, setting up camp, food, staying dry.
Which is a lot.
Keep it. Yeah, well, exactly. But these are
kind of things that you don't have to think about normally.
Exactly, and also though they're kind of our basic human needs,
Yes,
really. So we just had to attend to those things, and that took up enough of our time and our day.
Yeah, I did.
Without having to worry about kind of work things or social things or internet, all these kind of weird things that we've invented for ourselves. The basic stuff was enough, and I certainly didn't feel bored at any time either. In fact, probably more engaged and present than I do on a day-to-day level with most of our modern lives and kind of occupations.
I really wanted to take a book with me before we left, but due to the lack of space and too much weight, I had to leave it behind, and I was really worried that there'll be times where I'll be in the tent or setting up camp and I just want to read because I'd get really bored. And that didn't happen at all. I didn't find that. There wasn't a single day where I thought, I really miss my book, because there was so much outside to keep me occupied, with things that we'd miss normally, because you've got phones or something else to think about. So
yeah, and also just thinking about kind of reading and music and those sorts of things which we would miss if we were away longer. It just sharpened them when you come back. You appreciate things a little bit more again, for a while at least. All those comforts that we have in our modern lives, a flushing toilet, a fridge, a shower, all these things that are like really at our disposal. And I found myself the first few days when I came back just marvelling at having hot water coming from a tap and feeling how nice it is to just kind of wash my hands. And that's a real eye-opener, I suppose, in terms of how we exist in our lives and what's important to us.
Another thing that I found was, I think it was the day, it was quite a long day, we'll be walking for a while, and it was the day we went to the pub and had the meal, which was okay, not the best meal. However, the experience was of eating hot food with a pint and somewhere warm, where you could take off your drenched jacket and still feel warm. It was really nourishing, and I remember leaving and we had to walk uphill to go back to the trail. It was quite a steep uphill, a good mile uphill. And I remember noticing that my rucksack felt so much lighter than it had felt in the previous few days, and I thought, obviously that makes sense, but it really hit me that if you take good care of your needs and the basic needs of having somewhere to rest, to recuperate and eat and just do what you need, how your physical load feels lighter and how also your mental load feels lighter too. And it seems like such an obvious thing, thinking about it now, and perhaps it is, but it was the clarity with which I felt that was really powerful, so I thought I'd share it and see if we can apply it. Like, for example, I think about the amount of times that I give myself the space to have a lunch break in my day-to-day life, at work, or doing different things, and I don't know if I do that all the time. I tend just to work through it, and how many people do the same, and much lighter things would be if we knew what we needed and then gave us our permission to do that.
A couple of occasions where we stopped and had what we think of as a proper, home cooked meal or whatever in a pub. We came away feeling incredibly lethargic and heavy as well, like really like our stomachs were too full, finding it difficult to kind of process all the different rich foods that we regularly put in our body otherwise, and don't really think twice about. So the effect of the food we eat on our mood and our ability to kind of move and feel comfortable was interesting. So,
and sleep, I noticed that as well. So there's a couple of nights where we had a normal sized dinner for us. My sleep was really poor. So that was, it's the only thing I could attribute it to, because nothing else was different about modern day living.
You just got sucked back into it, really, don't you?
Really quickly.
In terms of food, and as we've said, like internet and social media and work and things like that, you get, we're only away for a week, but it felt kind of life-changing, really. And I think it is, and I can't wait to get back out and do something similar again.
Maybe
for longer.
for
longer, and never come back, no. But yeah, it's very easy to get sucked into this life of easy comforts again, and not so easy comforts as well. We work hard for these kind of walls that surround us and bring us safety and comfort, or perceived safety and comfort. But it's a bit of a trap, isn't it? Really. A lot of the things that we're speaking about today are things that we all know. And certainly in our jobs we teach a lot about food, mood, well-being, being out in nature, how it's good for you and all the rest of it. But to actually go out and experience it for an elongated stretch of time is a really good learning point, I think.
And also, to add to that, it made me think of, we had really heavy rucksacks, but we had everything we needed for a whole week. So if you could survive on that for a whole week, then you could survive on it whole month. But it's so little that can fit in a 50-litre rucksack that you need, and kind of think about the amount of stuff that we have at home.
The big thing we noticed being outside all the time, we had a tent in the evenings and mornings, but just how strange it was to be inside. I remember the first time we went in a shop after a few days of just being out in this vast kind of wilderness, mountains and moors, and then you walk into a shop and it's just kind of like this little box, and there's loads of other people in the box and loads of like bright colours, and it's quite overwhelming.
It was overwhelming.
Which is really funny. And then of course coming home to our house, our flat, and it's just like, this is really big. Another
thing that I found interesting was I found it difficult to settle the first night of being outdoors camping.
All the kind of scurrying noises.
So we found somewhere in woods, a bit like this actually, near a little stream, like a trickling stream, which we could cook with, and we just set up our tent and camped there. And I felt it was really strange. It was a very weird feeling to be in the middle of nowhere with no people around, very close. And to get to sleep there. And then when we went to bed, we were ridiculous going noises outside. What is that? And then after that, it was fine. I felt very at home, and it was really nice to be sleeping outside. And the more open space, the better. And really, the only other time I struggled was when we went to a campsite, knowing there was people close by, and all sorts of noises and animals making noises and small children making noises, and then you couldn't really hear the natural sounds of the owls or the rooks, or the leaves on trees, or the wind against the tent. Those weren't really present anymore, and it felt quite claustrophobic after being out and just having trees around, or and we met deer, and
ravens.
Yeah, you fed ravens,
Yeah.
which was really magical. And yeah, it was just so nice.
It's free, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always wonder about how social humans are or should be. You know, we're definitely social animals, but small groups, I think. You know, like most primates, you know, they hang out in troops or families or small communities. But humanity, we've obviously branched out and, you know, can hang out in much larger crowds. And I think often that's why a lot of people get this kind of sense of being overwhelmed or anxiety, this social anxiety, you know, in a cramped public space, or, you know, because it's fundamentally quite unnatural for many of us. And of course, like in the animal world, you know, which we're part of, some animals, some of us are more solitary or more sociable, or, you know, need a balance of both. And I think quite often that's, you know, certainly with the work I do as well, working with people, I see people are either having too much social contact involving like kind of, you know, often drugs and alcohol, just being overwhelmed by exhausting friends, all sorts of things, and complicated family matters. And on the other hand, people who are completely isolated, and, you know, both of those things are quite bad for us, and it's about finding a middle ground again, which is best for people.
Yeah, and the middle ground will be personal to that person, rather than the middle ground set by societal rules, which have been made up by the few,
and indeed by people like us as well. If we told everyone to go out into the woods or the moors or the mountains and just be alone for a week, that would be quite harmful for some people, because they need to be around others and they need a little bit of balance the other way. You know, that's too extreme for some people. So, but you don't know until you try.
And there's a lot of communities for either. So there's the communities for walking, there's plenty of them, you know, group walking, and there's other communities for hanging out socially, which doesn't really involve walking. However, when you were saying that we're kind of expanded, humanity has expanded, and there's so many of us, which can be anxiety-provoking, I was thinking, yes, there's like loads of people kind of everywhere, yet the really enriching sense of community has been lost, which is really sad.
Certainly in our culture here and now as well. You know, I think there are other cultures and subcultures where
that's still very much a fundamental part of being alive.
But for us here and now, I think, it's part of the cause of the ill mental health epidemic we seem to be experiencing at the moment. We've just completely lost touch with the world that we're part of. You know, that's part of what No. Go Wild's all about as well.
It is. So,
I think that's all I wanted to say today.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say as well.
Mind reading.
So thank you very much for watching.
Thank you. And also just to say thank you if you've watched our previous videos as well. The West Highland Way videos had quite a good response. And also our gear video last week as well seemed to be quite well received by some of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
Keep watching, and we
See
can
you
keep making.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.